Hey, welcome to the third quarter Chief Chat for Capital Imaging Services. I'm John Stagg. I'm the CEO, and I'm glad to have with me today our newest Senior Vice President, Craig Mailhos. And I'm going to let Craig tell you a little about his history with us, but actually we're filming this during the middle of a hurricane almost, and we're actually getting prepared for that right now. And we look forward to this Chief Chat, no matter if we're in a hurricane or sunshine. All right, as I said earlier, Craig Mailhos is our newest Senior VP over the New Orleans region, which means the North Shore and the South Shore of New Orleans. Craig, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started in diagnostic imaging, and then also how you got started with DIS and then evolving into CIS?
Sure. So I graduated from X-ray school in 1997, and I immediately went to ultrasound, and I graduated in 98 from ultrasound, and I went to work for a tenant. At the time was Mercy Hospital and Baptist Hospital. I was there for about 6 months, and then I had a big layoff, and I transferred into DIS. DIS Uptown had a open position.
And that was tenant owned at the time?
That was tenant at the time, so it was just a kind of a lateral move with tenant. So I was Uptown at DIS doing ultrasound for about 6 months, and then we opened the West Bank. In 99.
I didn't realize that was a new site.
It was, yeah. In August of 99, we opened in the West Bank. So I went to the West Bank just to be a ultrasound technologist there. And my boss at the time was there for about a month, and he moved up. And I kind of stepped into the position. So it was kind of everything happened at one time. And 26 years later, here I am. So I became the manager of the West Bank in 99, and really was there, became kind of stepped up to director, took on with some other sites like Slidell and Thibodeau and Laplace. And then recently had the great opportunity to become the senior vice president for Southeast Louisiana, New Orleans area. And it's kind of here we sit.
Yeah, so I knew you as being the director on the West Bank and some of the sites on the North Shore. Didn't really get to work with you a whole lot till we had a couple of acquisitions. So we acquired Corpus Christi, then we acquired HPR, and we acquired other things in the meantime. But I really got to watch you and go help others in our company at those sites, more on the clinical side, the operations, supply chain, that type of stuff. What kind of experience was that for you, like going into other sites or acquisitions?
So it was actually great. I really did enjoy it. The first time I went was with Tori, so he kind of showed me the ropes of what we did with acquisitions. It was at HPR in Houston, and I really did like it because I like going to facilities to see what they do different than what we do. Like we can implement things there. We can take back what they do. I love meeting new people and kind of seeing what they're about, and I really did like it. And then when the opportunity came for Corpus Christi, kind of the same thing. They had the two sites. I was able to go in, make a few changes, learn some things from them as well too. Got to meet some great people there as well too. It was really a good experience, I have to say.
That's
I really did like to do it.
Well, thank you for doing that.
No, appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. All right, Craig, talking about you running the New Orleans region. Well, it's our largest region in the company by far, and it's a huge metro area, but I know you can't do that all by yourself.
Absolutely.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about, I was excited recently, we were able to promote a lot of people within Capital to leadership positions in the company, which will give them other opportunities later, which we always promote. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who moved up in leadership positions and just what that means in your region for you?
Sure, no, absolutely. It's a huge help. There's no way, like you said, I can do it myself. Absolutely not. So we promoted some supervisors at most of the facilities, and I had some clerical leads in place too. So here in the Metairie corridor, starting with Doctors Imaging, we have Julie Wilhite, who is my supervisor over the clinic, and Catherine Acevedo, who is great at she runs the clerical department. Dr. Hamid is, it's kind of her right-hand person. So
Catherine was one of the first people I met on an acquisition after Dr. Hamid acquired my centers, because he acquired open-sided MRI over in the Galleria. and Catherine was at that site originally. So I've known her a long time.
She's great. She really is. She really is. And at the Women's Center here, so we promoted Tiffany Parks, who has kind of been a little bit in training for the last few years for it, kind of, sort of. And she's been doing a great job as well, too. And the clerical side, Elizabeth Bazile has been running that. She's been doing it a long time. Actually, Elizabeth Bazile was my employee a long time ago. I hired her for medical records, and she transferred here.
You hired a good employee.
I did, yes. At least I stole them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right.
The other facility here is at Pro East, across the street, and Allison Roy has stepped up, and she's my supervisor there as well too. Gotcha. So she's been doing a great job. She runs the department over there and keeps everything in line. So, and then on the West Bank, promoted Alexis Como to the supervisor position, who was kind of running things when I was out of town, going to Houston and to Corpus Christi. She's always done a great job for me, and she stepped up and she's been doing, she's great. And I think the staff really is proud of her that she was able to do
better
it.
than their old boss?
I think so. I didn't want to say that, but probably so. And Shaquita Colbert is my supervisor for the front desk. So she's been with us probably about a year and a half or so, and she's been doing a good job.
Great.
And on the North Shore, we have Kelly Babin is over Slidell. She's my supervisor that runs the technical part of it. And on the clerical side, I have Crystal Rishmeyer. And she's doing great as well over there. Awesome. In the Covington, Hammond, and Premier area, which Premier's in Covington as well too. Alicia Bayard, she's been the supervisor, kind of handles the whole corridor, and she does all the scheduling for them and things like that as far as the technologist side. And Karen Batuzzi does the clerical lead at the Covington site. So, and then I have two other sites. We have Thibodeau, which is the MRI, just MRI machine, and so is Laplace, Riverbend Imaging. So I'm kind of handle those directly as well too, those two sites for now. So, but great staff across the board. It's been for me moving into the role. It's nice having that support. And
I mean, the biggest thing I like to talk about is we promoted you from within. They all got promoted from within. So really our goal is to build new leaders. When others retire or move on, we hope everybody stays with us forever, but that just doesn't happen. But hey, look, we do like promoting from within if at all possible. And so it's been really cool to watch the development of younger leaders or newer leaders in the New Orleans market. Yeah. All right, Craig. So since you've been in this role, how long?
About a month and a half.
I thought a little over a month, not too long. You had some great leaders ahead of you that I know taught you a lot. So, but once you get in the role and you're doing it for yourself, tell me some things that have been positive or things you've really enjoyed about the new role. But then also tell me, I know with any leadership role, there's definite challenges. Tell me about those two, if you know, positive and then I wouldn't say negative, but challenges.
So it kind of goes back to what I talked about, making new relationships and meeting new people. So I think right now I have about 120 employees, give or take. And I knew most of them before, but now it's giving me a chance to probably, get a little bit closer relationship with them, which I love to do. I like to get to know them. And even on top of that, the administrative level too, I'm working with people closer than I ever have before.
Right.
So that's the favorite part of what I do is building those relationships and working relationships and kind of getting to know everybody.
Gotcha.
On a challenging side, it's probably the big thing that's been the biggest challenge so far has been staffing.
Yeah.
Trying to keep staff, in place and trying not to burn out the people that work in the clinics that are short-staffed. That's probably been our biggest challenge. Hopefully the page will turn very soon. We have a few things in place, but hopefully that'll get a little better as we go.
Yeah, I think that's an industry-wide thing. It's really not a New Orleans or this region thing. I mean, I'd say it's harder in some areas, your metro areas, I'd tell you, Houston, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, I'd tell you it's a little harder than, harder staff moving around, having other job opportunities than probably your rural areas. But it's a challenge in the industry right now. But I know you and I are constantly trying to make sure we stay competitive, make sure that we're, getting the employees that we want to be part of Capital and what we do. And so me and you are always like going back and forth trying to figure out, the what we can do, what we can't do right now for our employees, but it's always a challenge.
Yeah, the thesis probably been, in the 26 years, this has probably been
it has. I mean, like from an industry standpoint,
Sure.
I've been running direct imaging centers for 21 years now, and I tell you, it's probably the most challenging time for not just technologists, and then clerical has maybe a little bit subsided lately, but still there.
Absolutely.
You know, finding qualified clerical personnel. And then on top of that, you got radiologists that it's just hard to find. So, I mean, we're in a challenging time right now, but we try to combat that as best we can.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, Craig. So as I mentioned in the opening, we are not in the middle of a hurricane, but we're anticipating a hurricane really to hit sometime tomorrow. You know, we've gone through that a few times. If you've lived anywhere in New Orleans or South Louisiana, we've all been through it a few times. So new role, probably a little different responsibilities now. You're not looking at, you know, one or two sites. You're looking at a whole. What have y'all done so far? What's your plans, and what do you anticipate? And I know you're not a meteorologist.
Right. I'd like to be, but no. So, you know, we kind of taken the basic precautions like we always do.
Right.
You know, just we make sure the staff, when we go to leave, we taking things down to, you know, the breakers and things like that, so we can protect the equipment, covering things like that. Obviously, our biggest concern is keeping the staff safe. We don't want to put them in harm's way. You know, so and we had, you know, we've had Ida, we've had Katrina, so we had. A lot of our staff is shell shocked. They kind of have, you know, memories. They get nervous when this stuff comes up.
Right.
So we want to put their mind at ease and try to keep them as safe as we can. So
we close tomorrow. I mean, could we have run part of the day? Maybe, but hey, just for, you know, patient employee safety. Hey, look, let's shut down. There's going to be some hurricane activity tomorrow during the day to the nighttime.
Right.
So I think that was a
you know, getting into work in the morning probably wouldn't have been a big deal, but it's a little touch and go getting back, you know. And will the patients have showed? We sit there for a few patients. So we're closed all day tomorrow, and Thursday really it's going to depend on power, what we can do. But we hopefully we'll be back at it on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, we, you know, from an employee, we just had hurricane hit Houston Metro. Had a lot of sites shut down for about a week, but really lucky. Really no major damage for employees, and really nobody was put in harm's way. We still pray and hope for the same thing here, and that's what our, you know, hope and prayer is. So.
Yeah.
All right, Craig, so going in toward the end of the week, unless we have something major that we have to stick around for, we're going into our 2025 strategic planning. I know you've been part of those before, but never as really a senior vice president. You know, I know a lot of times I come home at night and my wife's like, man, you look like you've been running a marathon. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't really have a lot of physical activity, but man, my mind feels like I've just, you know, gone through the ringer today. Right. And that's probably, you know, you're getting more of that now. So going into strategic planning for 2025, what are just, I mean, you don't have to run through everything you're doing for it, but what are just a couple of things to highlight what you're looking at in the New Orleans region?
Sure. So I think a big opportunity for us here is clinical trials.
Yep.
We've been doing them for years, and every year seems to bring more and more.
That's cool.
And they bring challenges to the staff, but the staff's they've stepped up and they've done what they needed to do, and that seems to be the biggest avenue of growth I think we have around here.
Good. Yep.
And probably one of the biggest challenges we're going to talk about is equipment. We have some equipment that's getting a little older and needs to be replaced. And
seems like we've replaced a lot of the higher end, or I guess what do you call them? The MRI, more CT, but now we have some more like DEXA, X-ray, some of those smaller. I don't know, not smaller piece of equipment, but I guess
less expensive. I guess you could say.
I guess. Yeah, good. I don't try to think how do I say that. So. There's probably a term me and you're both missing, but anyway. But yeah, so it seems like that's more where we got to concentrate right now.
I think so. Yeah, we have
some of that's 20 plus years old.
Correct. Yeah, some of the X-ray fluoro equipment, you know, some of the X-ray panels, the detectors and stuff. Right. That seems to be the one that's probably the most pressing going into the next year.
Yeah. Craig, I appreciate your time today. You were actually the first senior vice president I got to interview, and our newest one. So congratulations on both.
Thank you.
But I'll get to the next few in our next chief chats. But I'm glad everybody got to meet you a little bit. Do you want to tell us I didn't do this earlier and sort of this impromptu. A little bit about your family. You want to tell us?
Sure.
I know you have.
Yeah, I have a couple. I have two daughters.
Yeah.
The oldest one's 22, and she graduated in May from LSU in Baton Rouge.
Cool.
With a dual degree, political science and criminal justice. Awesome. So she's going to get her master's. She's going to do it online at Oklahoma University.
That's cool.
So she just started this semester. I think she's leaning more toward the political science because you can't really do a dual degree. Yeah. So she'll get it in that. And hopefully within about 2 years she'll be done. My youngest daughter, she's 20. Okay. First one is her name's Bryn. B-R-Y-N, Bryn. And my little one's Bella, and she's 20. She went to LSU for a year and a half, took her prerequisites in Baton Rouge, and she is back in New Orleans at LSU Nursing School.
Oh, wow, cool.
So she's in her second semester now, and awesome. She works in the ER at West Jefferson Hospital as a nurse tech.
Cool.
So she's getting some experience that way, and very proud of them. They've been great kids, I have to say.
That's cool.
So yeah,
that's awesome. I'm sorry I didn't ask you that earlier. That's usually how I get in trouble from my wife every time. You don't talk about me or the kids, and I'm like, oops, sorry. I'm just thinking like work mode. You know what I mean? Right. But anyway, I know you're very proud of your daughters because you talk about them all the time. Yeah. But that's really cool. But anyway, so thank you for being here. Really appreciate spending the time with you. We enjoy doing Chief Chats. I think it's a good time for you as employees get to meet the leaders of the company. And we'll continue to do that. Like I said, I'll go to the next senior VPs next. I know they're looking forward to it, but we will go to them. But thanks for joining us for this third quarter Chief Chat, and we look forward to seeing you for the fourth quarter.